Please subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the notification button so you are aware of our future episodes that you will love so much. Hello, Earthlings. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Film Biz Show. We're right in the heart of the Africa Rising International Film Festival, and we have just come out of seeing a tearjerker, a beautiful film by Cindy Lee called The Last Ranger, which is currently in the Oscar race for the short films nominations. Firstly, thank you for joining us, Cindy, and thank you for the wonderful film that you created. The first question I'd like to ask you is, coming from a short film background, someone who has extensive experience within the advertising commercial space, how was it telling a story that was a bit more long form, but it is a short film? Because as we were watching it, one never felt as if it almost felt like a feature film. The way it was just so well told. How did you just kind of transition from those two forms of storytelling?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Pleasure.
Love your work, guys. As a director, as a commercial director, you always want to make films. And I had the opportunity to make a 26-minute as opposed to a 30-second or a 1-minute. And actually, the transition was pretty simple. In my mind, as a commercial director, I wasn't the kind of commercial director that likes telling stories about a washing powder and just doing product.
Yeah.
I try and always inject acting and performance, backstory, even if it's in a 1-minute. So when the opportunity came to do a 26-minute, it just felt really natural. It was pretty easy, actually, stepping into a 26. And thank you for saying that. It felt like a long film, because that's a really amazing compliment.
It really did. It's a dialogue that happens between the words. It's the journey of the father, the journey of the daughter. You understand? It was a canvas that was well painted. And that's the reason why so many people were tearing up in the auditorium. Really, it resonated a lot. But the subject matter, rhino horn poaching, which is at the heart of, conservationists are currently having these conversations. Ministers who are supposed to be taking care of these parks, are being kind of like rattled up to say, guys, we need to start moving with regards to this conversation. What is it that inspires you to go into this particular topic, and how has the response been when you took this story to the market?
I've always loved the wildlife. I go to game farms. I'm fortunate enough, at least I try and go twice a year. And rhinos are just the most exquisite creatures. And if you get up close to them, you really get a sense of really where we fit into the bigger picture in the world. And what is happening is shocking in our country, and nothing is being done. And there are a lot of documentaries out there, and I appreciate the effort that everybody is doing. But the thing with the documentary is when you're talking numbers and when you're just being quite gory and hard about just, the graphicness of it and the numbers, you don't really appeal, and there's only a very small market of people. But when you can tell that story in a narration, in a really heartfelt film, you're suddenly talking to a much bigger audience. And it's also the socioeconomic issues that we face when it comes to rhino poaching. If the communities were better looked after, if there was more jobs, if everybody had an income and they weren't so desperate for money, then there wouldn't be so many people out there who were willing to take the money and go out and risk their lives to poach the rhino. So it's a much bigger picture. And I really want to create awareness around that and around how serious a topic it is in South Africa. And really, nobody except the actual owners of the parks and the rhinos are the only people that are doing anything about it. And I think that's absolutely shocking.
No, it is shocking.
Shocking. And it's expensive, It's extremely expensive to tag a rhino, to take its horn off. It's destroying our entire game reserve industry and our,
Tourism.
Tourism, thank you, is the word. I think it's my coffee stain, I can't think.
No one saw it.
No, they did. Cut, edit.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And what was your research process, development?
Well, I actually didn't write the script. My brother wrote it.
Wonderful.
And there's something in America. Kindred Films are doing something where they have a whole lot of short films that are interconnected, that all take place during COVID. Yeah. And I think there are 24 short films they want to make from different countries in the world and how they were impacted during COVID. So their first film was from Denmark, and we're the second film that they're making. So they're going to be a whole lot more films. And my brother happened to write the script that they chose out of the South African batch of scripts. And it's based on a true story. My brother went to school with the vet, William Folds, who saved Tundi.
Wow.
Which is why it's such a powerful story, because I don't want to give too much away. Okay, I'm giving too much away.
You're not.
No,
Trust me, we'll edit it out.
But yeah. So that's I think what makes it so powerful, that it's it's a personal story to my brother. And then of course my mother, the late Mooneen Lee, was around when we started making it. So she got involved with so that's why we dedicate the film to her. So I'm very sad she didn't get to see David and I get longlisted for an Oscar. It would have made her very proud. Yeah. So of course, I mean, I don't know how many times I watch the film. Every time that comes up, I'm a mess.
It's really touching. I mean, yeah, she's carried a lot of people on her shoulders in this industry. I mean, we are where we are because of her.
Thank you for
so,
that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Strong lineage there. But I mean, for me, what really touched me about the story is just how personal it was. You know, you could literally, you had empathy even for the bad guy.
Right.
Even for the bad guy.
That's great.
You know, and I think that's really what resonates. But now, what is the one outcome you'd like to see? Let's say what reaction do you want or change of mindset do you want people to have on the ground?
Yeah.
Or is it a matter of an awareness?
Yeah, I think what we're doing as well, which is very exciting, is like Sandparks have reached out to us now, and they want to show the film to all the game lodges where young children are, so that they understand the consequences of poaching, how actually it impacts your own industry and your own environment. Because if you take out the rhinos, then you're losing work, and the whole industry gets affected. And I think it's really important that children understand the bigger picture of what is happening. So we are trying to get it into as many places. Also, what was so important to us is that it's in isiXhosa, and that we're telling our own story in our own language to the rest of the world. We're not trying to emulate another country and make an American film better, because we'll never do that. We want to show off our landscape. We want to show off our languages. We want to show off the beautiful place we live in and our own stories and our own people, and it's important that we do that.
Yeah. So last night we were at the opening of ARIFF, and the director, who was Pumi Murari, her name is, and she spoke about just a South African aesthetic, a cinematic language that we kind of have forgotten, to focus and develop on, because of obviously we've got all these streamers that are coming in and they've got a particular agenda, you could say, in terms of how stories are being told. How do you foresee going forward, like such powerful narratives like this actually being able to be accessed more mainstream and with for a bigger audience, because these are actually very educational and impactful stories that touch the soul and that can change lives. What would you like to see to actually get them more, make them more
That's
accessible?
a really good question, and I think for me that's when the government needs to get involved. Arts and culture needs to get involved, because we have to start making more independent films, because the minute the streamers get involved, they dictate what they're looking for. They want a specific film, a specific genre. They're hitting their targets. They're not really interested in the independent films that tell their own stories. So, and what's tricky is that we finance, independent films get self-financed. So the broadcaster doesn't finance them, the streamer doesn't finance them. We have to finance them ourselves, and then it gets difficult to get it out there, because you're taking on the entire thing by yourself. But the government needs to support more of indie filmmaking, because then if they do, we can tell our own story. There's nothing's preset. We just make our own stories the way we want to, and then we get the support, then we go out and but if the government gets involved, they can guarantee distribution beforehand. They can help us get out there and tell our stories. We need more film festivals. And we need them to then pay the streamers to put our films on their platforms, without the streamers demanding beforehand, well, if I'm paying for it, this is the kind of film I want. This is what it needs to look like. That's the aesthetic, blah, blah, blah. That's not how we can tell our own stories. We need to do it independently of all of that, but we need the government support to do that.
But now they'll come and say, look, we've got the rebates, we've got the IDC that can help you. All these institutions, do you feel as if they are adequate? They're enough?
No, it's not enough. I mean, if it was enough, I think we would have a much better, more robust industry. And I don't think we can't even compete with Bollywood. We can't compete with Nollywood, with any of them, because we just don't have enough support.
And what I'm starting to see is that there's other African countries that are starting to look at us as a model and say, how can we do it better than them? And if we're not careful within the next decade, they're going to far outpace us. Yeah.
And I mean, the reason that America is so successful is because there's it's an industry.
Yeah.
We have to understand that our film industry, it's an industry. And nobody seems to take that seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, the export can be huge for us.
It hasn't been industrialized. But they've got a very interesting model of financing films, almost like through tax cuts, from corporates.
Yeah.
Could you get that kind of thing going with this film? I mean, right now.
I don't know. I'm a director, not a producer. I just spend the money. I don't know how to make the money.
But now the exciting part, the Oscar nomination. How did that happen?
Well, we're not nominated. Easy, Tiger.
Okay.
But I mean, from your lips, please.
Yes, that's good.
We're in the first round. We're long listed. So what happened is the producers entered into as many festivals as we could afford to in America and the UK. And there are a couple of festivals that are Oscar qualifying festivals. And you first get submitted, and then you get chosen, and then you have to win. But you have to win Best Overall Film. And we won Best Overall Film at the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles. So what that did is it's now qualified us for the Oscars. So I think there are almost 200 films around the world that are qualified. It's a lot. And the Academy start voting Monday, I think. And then what happens is then they choose the shortlist, which is 15 films. Then they vote again, and then out of that, 5 are nominated.
So still a long journey.
But it's a business, it's so tricky, even in America, because we're not known. We don't have a name in the film. We don't have a name directing the film. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a big celebrity on as an EP, but we're running out of time, because then it makes such a difference if you get a famous person to say, I support the film, I know the film. We've been very fortunate. Anele and her team, Rose and Oaks, are behind us in South Africa. They've come on as EPs as well now. So we're managing to get some traction, but I don't know if it's going to be enough over that side. We've tried, We've tried Trevor. Don't know what happened. He didn't seem too excited, which is weird. I mean, his mom's Xhosa. You'd think he'd go, let's do this. Trevor. Trev.
Come on
Trev.
now. Come on, know your roots.
Come on.
Otherwise, Cindy Lee, thank you so much for this incredible work, and just know that we support you.
Thank you.
And from the Film Biz Show, we just want to say, look, man, love and light, and may the way be, bright as you go forward. And we know that Mama Monin Lee is with us this moment.
Stop making stuff.
Yeah,
right,
definitely. Yeah, all those
Thanks,
tears in the
guys.
auditorium really came from somewhere special, and I know that she's with us.
Thank you for your support. You keep doing this work. We're going to build our industry.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Woo!